Hey, this is Zachlog the Great. So, I talk about politics and culture a lot here, and yet I rarely talk about news and current events. I realize that some of you may wonder why that is, so I thought I'd address that. Why don't I talk about the news? Well, for one thing, I do. If you're a supporter on Subscribestar, I do a monthly news roundup there for members only. But I guess idiosyncratic would be the word. It's just about whatever from the past month happened to catch my attention. Not systematic in any way. I rarely do videos covering current events as part of my regular channel. Why not? There are a few reasons. First, the news is, almost by definition, the bad news. The news almost exclusively talks about what goes wrong. That's why there's the old saying, no news is good news. If you haven't heard anything, everything is probably okay. There are about 115,000 commercial flights in the US each day. Virtually every one of them goes off without a hitch, and you hear nothing. But if just one of those planes crashes, it will be all over the news. Depending on the circumstance, it may be for an afternoon or for a full week. The news focuses on what is going wrong. There are understandable reasons for this, but it's still a problem. Thus, following the news intently, devoting a lot of thought to it, and talking about it all the time, that's an easy way to run yourself into a depression. To be honest, I probably spend too much time already reading and thinking about the news and current events. And my life would be better if I decreased that, or at least made sure I took periodic breaks. If you're like me, maybe take 1 month off from news and politics each year. Second, I have developed an almost existential skepticism for anything I hear from the news. I do not trust most of these people telling me about these things at all. Just as a matter of philosophy and clear thinking, it is entirely possible that the events they're telling me about are completely made up. To take an example from the current news cycle, it is entirely possible, from my own experience, that there is no such place as Ukraine and no such person as Vladimir Putin. I haven't been there. I haven't met them. To me, they exist only as images on a screen. Much like Neo from The Matrix or Martin Brody from Jaws. Being a journalist is not my job, and I lack the time and money to even make it a serious hobby. I can't travel to these places and talk to the people involved, so all I can pass on to you would be an interpretation of other people's words. And some of those people I know to be liars. I'm not sure how useful that would actually be. Finally, current events flow like the current in a stream. What everyone is talking about excitedly today, half of those people will have already forgotten a month from now. What interest do you have in reading a newspaper from 2 weeks ago? It's done. It's gone. I've recorded a few videos on current events. They sometimes catch significant interest when they first go up, but unless there's something more significant there, after a short time, they will never catch interest again. But if I do a video about a more general cultural or philosophical question, while it may not get a burst of initial traffic, it will still catch interest much, much later, since I'm talking about an idea that endures, and not a brief event which passes. I suppose the ideal plan would be to take a current event and use it as a framework to talk about bigger issues. Now that I think about it, Stefan Molyneux is pretty good at that. I think I'd feel weird about that, though, trying to fit everything that happens into a specific ideological mold. So, although from time to time I may do a video about a recent event, it's never going to be a mainstay of my channel. And that's why. God be with you.